2 hours later, Marcus was declared brain dead. The mother screamed when they told her. By morning, his organs were allocated. I couldn't sleep for days. Then it happened again and again. Patients declared brain dead with alarming speed. Families rushed, pressured, confused. Paperwork completed too fast. Bodies gone before questions could form. And there were others, names that appeared briefly, then vanished. Criminals, traffickers, men with sealed records. One night, I overheard 2 administrators whispering. Another one disappeared? Death certificate filed, cremation already done. My name is Ethan Cole, and for most of my adult life, I loved my job. I don't mean that lightly. I loved the smell of antiseptic in the morning, the soft beeping of monitors, the quiet gratitude in a patient's eyes when you adjusted their pillow just right. I loved being a nurse because it made me feel useful in a world that often feels cruel and careless. I believed hospitals were sacred places, where life was protected, where truth mattered, where no one was judged by the color of their skin or the size of their bank account. That belief is what almost destroyed me. It all began the month Dr. Victor Harland arrived at Mercy Crest Hospital. He came with a resume so polished it gleamed. Elite medical schools, international conferences, awards framed in gold. Administration treated him like a celebrity surgeon who had chosen to bless our little hospital with his brilliance. Nurses were told to learn from him. Residents were told to observe and stay quiet. I was assigned as his primary ICU nurse. At first, I told myself the unease I felt was just nerves. Then he opened his mouth. "You people really should teach your patients better hygiene. Half of them look like they crawled in from the street." He said that during rounds, about a black elderly man who had been brought in after a stroke. I froze. The room went silent. No one challenged him. Later, in the hallway, I tried to rationalize it. Stress. Ego. Some surgeons are jerks, right? But the comments didn't stop. He mocked accents with a precision that made the room shiver. A patient from Ghana stumbled over a few English words while trying to explain his pain. Dr. Harland leaned back in his chair, smirked, and imitated the syllables in an exaggerated, cruel tone. "So, your stomach hurts like this." The man's eyes went wide. He tried to nod politely, embarrassed. Harland laughed, low and cutting, the kind of laugh that made everyone in the room shrink into themselves. He rolled his eyes at patients struggling with English, like they were nothing more than props in his personal theater. A Spanish-speaking mother trying to explain her child's fever? Harland sighed dramatically, muttering loud enough for the family to hear. "Could someone translate this for me? I can't waste my time deciphering broken sentences." He didn't just dismiss them, he humiliated them. He treated their accents as evidence of stupidity. He corrected pronunciations with mockery. He paused deliberately, letting silence hang heavy, forcing the patient to stammer again. The nurses exchanged glances, uncomfortable, but silent. I wanted to speak. I wanted to defend them, but fear had its grip. His gaze was always sharp, always calculating, and I had already begun learning that one wrong word could ruin a career, or worse. Even the staff weren't safe. New residents, mostly immigrants themselves, were targets. One young nurse from India mispronounced a medical term during rounds. Harland's hand shot up like a whip. "Oh, please, are you even trying, or is English too hard for you?" Each time Harland mocked, laughed, or sneered, a little piece of the room's humanity seemed to vanish. I felt it in my chest, the tension, the shame, the fear. But most of all, I felt the weight of injustice settling in. I knew, deep down, that if someone didn't stop him, more than pride would be destroyed. Lives would be too. He once leaned toward a Latina woman crying at her mother's bedside and said, "Grief won't change the outcome. Save your tears." I watched that woman crumble. Something dark lived behind his eyes. Not arrogance, calculation. The real horror revealed itself slowly, like rot under clean white sheets. One night, a young man was admitted. Gunshot wound. Unstable, but alive. His name was Marcus. His mother refused to leave his bedside, praying softly, holding his hand. Dr. Harland barely glanced at the chart. Brain activity minimal. Prepare documentation. I stared at the monitor. Doctor, he's responding to stimuli. Pupillary reflex is present. He looked at me like I'd insulted him. Nurse Cole, do not embarrass yourself. 2 hours later, Marcus was declared brain dead. The mother screamed when they told her. By morning, his organs were allocated. I couldn't sleep for days. Then it happened again and again. Patients declared brain dead with alarming speed. Families rushed, pressured, confused. Paperwork completed too fast. Bodies gone before questions could form. And there were others, names that appeared briefly, then vanished. Criminals, traffickers, men with sealed records. One night, I overheard 2 administrators whispering. Another one disappeared? Death certificate filed, cremation already done. I began digging, quietly. What I found made my hands shake. Dr. Harland had connections, private transplant brokers, offshore accounts, shell charities. He falsified death certificates, listing criminals as deceased while they were smuggled out under new identities. Innocent families lost closure. Mothers buried empty coffins. Justice vanished with a signature. I recorded everything, times, names, monitor readings. I tried to raise the alarm. I went to the ethics board. 3 days later, Dr. Harland cornered me in a supply room. He closed the door gently, smiled. You seem curious lately, Ethan. My heart pounded. People are dying who shouldn't be. His smile widened. Careful, curiosity gets nurses framed. He leaned closer. Or killed. Then he whispered, I can declare you incompetent with one report, or brain dead with a syringe. I stopped pushing. I hated myself for it. Weeks passed, then months. That's when karma arrived. At first, it was small. Dr. Harland began forgetting things. Charts misfiled, names wrong, procedures delayed. I overheard him snapping at residents. I know I left it here. Objects in his office moved on their own. Pens rolled off desks, cabinets opened. He laughed it off. Then the nightmares started, rumors circulated. He was haunted. He came in pale, sweating. Someone keeps whispering my name. One night, while charting, I saw security footage replaying in the break room. A figure moved through Dr. Harland's house. Lights flickered. A shadow stood behind him while he slept. I didn't recognize the face. But the hospital chaplain did. That's Marcus, the young man. The one declared brain dead too soon. Others followed. Patients he had silenced now haunted him. He began unraveling, hands shaking, speech slurred, paranoia rising. Then came the stroke. It happened during surgery. He collapsed mid-procedure. They rushed him to the ICU, my ICU. I was assigned to his bed. The irony almost made me laugh. His eyes were open, panicked, fully aware, but his body didn't respond. Locked in. I checked the monitors. Brain activity present. Strong. Clear. The attending physician frowned. Minimal response. Could be brain dead. My stomach dropped. Dr. Harland's eyes darted to me. He recognized me. Terror flooded his face. I knew he was fully aware, every second, but the room didn't. The doctors debated, their voices clinical, detached, no purposeful movement. He meets criteria for brain death. We should consider withdrawal. I could feel my stomach twist. My mind went back to Marcus, his mother screaming, the rushed paperwork, the stolen lives. I leaned closer to him, lowering my voice. Do you hear them, doctor? His eyes filled with panic, the same raw fear he'd instilled in others for years. Just like you once did. The irony wasn't lost on me. He had spent years declaring patients brain dead while they were still alive. He had signed away lives, destroyed families, and stolen organs for profit. Now, the same system, the same hospital, was doing to him what he had done to countless others. Minutes passed. Machines beeped steadily. Nurses and residents moved efficiently around the room, adjusting lines, documenting charts, but I couldn't look away. Dr. Harland's body went still. His chest rose and fell shallowly. He was gone. When the final declaration was made, a hush fell over the room. Silence, but not peace. The air was heavy with karma fulfilled. I didn't breathe. I had waited years for this moment. Afterward, I contacted the authorities and hospital administration. I compiled every record, falsified death certificates, illegally harvested organs, victims silenced, families robbed of closure. I handed it all over. Dates, names, accounts, evidence. Weeks later, the full scope of his crimes exploded into the light. Investigators moved quickly. Families finally learned the truth. Administrators who had turned a blind eye were held accountable. Justice, slow but relentless, caught up with him. I stood outside the ICU window the night they removed the machines, staring at the dark hospital lights. A sense of grim satisfaction settled in my chest. Not pleasure, just the certainty that evil, no matter how clever, could not outrun its consequences forever. Somewhere, Marcus's mother cried, finally able to mourn properly. Somewhere, stolen lives got their names back. And somewhere in the universe, Dr. Victor Harland's legacy ended, not with glory, not with accolades, but with exposure, shame, and absolute finality. I shook my head and muttered under my breath, a tiny smirk breaking through the heaviness. Guess he won't be signing any more death certificates. As for me, I still love my job, but I've learned hospitals aren't holy places. People choose to make them holy. And karma? Karma doesn't need a medical license. It just waits. Anyway, if you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and don't forget, if a doctor ever says you're brain dead too fast, maybe ask for a second opinion.